We will honor the present ordinances on DBEs. I'm more interested, however, in getting away from designations based on race or sex and getting into really economic conditions that make them DBEs. The second thing is, I don't want us to be forfeiting our future by committing ourselves to these programs that cost extraordinarily money. I mean, I don't mind, and I think it makes sense socially if we can help people who are truly local. But you see too often that people do sham DBE agreements. Mm-hmm. And they make sure that they have a DBE on board so they can get the weighting and the scoring the right way. To me, if it's a sham agreement, I don't think they should be qualified. They have to bring substantive work to the table. I am going to sign that on the first day. I'm going to sign two things day one. First, the CEA with NORA to give them $38 million of federal money that's sitting there to deal with the blight situation that the mayor stubbornly refuses to sign. And the other thing I'm going to do is sign the deal on the public-private partnership. It makes no sense. I want to get it out of City Hall. I want to make City Hall business friendly for the people who are doing business here. I don't think we should be spending our time, our energy in this sort of divided approach. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be running around the country to go meet with the president of Coca-Cola. I hope to meet with more chief executive officers and people who actually work on the ground in the city of New Orleans and in Metairie who want to do business here. I have a very simple thought process about it. If you make it more friendly to do business in New Orleans for the people who are already here, more of them are going to do more business there. I have said that on day one at City Hall, everybody there will get 4 questions placed on their desk. Is what I'm doing today making it more livable to be in the city of New Orleans? Is what I'm doing today making it more affordable to be in the city of New Orleans? Is what I'm doing today helping out economic opportunity? And is what I'm doing today fair and equitable for all of our citizens?
What do you do when the city employees go, I'm a civil servant, I don't have to answer this question?
Here's where we have an actual benefit. We do our budget wrong. We're still doing our budget as though we have 450,000 people. People don't recognize that the federal government gave us transitional money, which we have not transitioned with. That's why we're $70 million upside down. We're going to be able to collapse some departments. We're going to be able to truncate some of the civil service things because of the collapse of those departments. And we're going to be able to excite those employees who want to do well to stay. And we're going to be able to tell those people who don't want to stay that we don't have room for you. The thing I got going for me is it's not a better lawyer running for mayor of New Orleans. I can guarantee that. And I will be more familiar with the rules and how to deal with it than anybody. In order to shop in the city of New Orleans, you got to get out there and try and beat the meter maid to your car, or you get crippled and they're charging you, $1.25 an hour, $2 an hour, and that's what you got to make it easy. I mean, it's like any business. If you want somebody to buy, you make it easy. One of the things I'm hoping for is more inexpensive parking, easier public transportation to shopping. I'm against most of them. So as soon as I say that, that creates a whole, group of people who will say, well, I used to get these contracts. Well, here's the news: you're not. Second, when we come up with the conception for the need for it, it will be known, and the Inspector General will know it, and the public will know it right up front. When we talk about what this professional services contract will do, the Inspector General and the public will know about it before we do the RFP or the RFQ. When we get that, it will be scored, and I don't know whether the board that scores it will be exactly the same. Obviously, there'll be some small differences, at least in personnel. But regardless, you'll know the scoring. The Inspector General will know the scoring. The public will know the scoring, and so there'll be a chance to come in and critique the scoring. Now, then I'm going to make a selection because that's ultimately my job. And if I deviate from the scoring and say, you know, he got a 79, he got an 80, and I'm going to give it to the 79, then I'm going to have to explain it and explain it to the public. I'm going to have to explain it to the Inspector General, and I'm going to have to rationalize it in a way that's non-political. It may be that I disagree with the scoring, in which case I have that right to come in and say, I thought y'all underscored him and overscored him. But at the end of the day, on that contract, before it's let, there will be a full public discussion. If in fact you go up to get a permit, that it is, one of the things I'm going to do, hopefully very quickly, is get it away from the 7th floor and make it more convenient for people. I mean, to me it's preposterous. Everybody has to fight to go downtown to get there. You can take the permits department and you can move it out of City Hall as well to a place where people can actually drive up. You know, we have a lot of land in this town, and make it easy for them. The other thing, and this would not be day one sort of stuff, but a lot of cities have now gone to third-party vendors. You can go to your Home Depot and basically begin to get your permit.
And I guess that applies to licensing as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, anything that makes your life easier. And that's what troubles me, is that the city has gotten to the point where it's about you coming and genuflecting to some public official as opposed to them saying, thank you for doing business in the city of New Orleans. My strategy for New Orleans is much like everywhere else, except you got to be a little bit more intense. You got to remove the blight. You got to make it affordable to live out there. I think you have to look at the issue differently than we have. We have land, and we have good habitable land. A lot of it vacant or with blight. You can remove that and add it to the mix. That in effect becomes your second mortgage or your soft second. We have all of these houses coming to us from the road home through Nora. That can be used. But here's the deal. None of that works if you don't have people. And our issue as a community is we don't have enough people because people are not sure that there's enough opportunity. People misunderstand what builds cities. There's still this conception left over from the 50s that what you need to be chasing is the big plant. What you ought to be chasing are those jobs that are associated with education, that are associated with the health industry, that are associated with the local indigenous professions and the like. And in the short term, the biggest economic boost we can have is get this hospital debacle settled and begin work on the new teaching hospital and on the VA. If you get this hospital thing going, it will generate enough people to live in all of those places. And all of this economic opportunity we're talking about and the need to do it will come. We're going to collapse some staff, give them some more staff, help them find monies, it's like the Submerged Streets programs and others that are out there, and they're not getting any credit for spending the money because nobody knows about it. So you have to make it a lot more transparent. There is no reason why you shouldn't know that on the 3200 block of Octavia exactly what's going on. It does two things. If I know what's going on, I make sure it's not because it's you getting it done, it's because it's part of a plan. Second thing is you got to make sure that we continue to defease our bonds, and we can talk about that because if we're ever going to have to go into our own pocket, we need to get rid of some of the bonded indebtedness. We have more property available in the city of New Orleans the city owns. That if we took that, paid down on the bonds, we could reduce the cost of living here and would make it easier for us to go out and get some more bonded indebtedness. Third thing is when we got the stimulus money, nobody here knew where we spent it. You know, we know we got it, nobody knows where it goes. You got to make it open and obvious. Why don't we have a real priority on which streets get fixed, the ones that are used the most? But it comes down to we have such a great city. I don't think we need to be doing much more as a city to do it, except make it safe. I want to say right now it's around 463. It really needs to be 400, and then that's the operating budget. You have another $500 million or so for capital expenses.